No, we want
Kicking
you.
him out.
No, we just don't want video of us yelling at you.
Well, you told me this price last year, how come it changed now, you know?
He's recording.
No,
We just told him not to.
understood.
Was this publicly noticed?
Yeah, it was, but, and I kind of had a discussion with Catherine
Yeah.
that did it really need to be televised? It's just the budget and the.
Yeah, usually workshops aren't televised.
Right. Usually we have it at DPW.
Right, well, that's, yeah, and we aren't doing that, so.
Well, what's her name, Laura Spector? She said you don't have to televise them.
Yeah, I know, and even Catherine said that, so I don't know kind of what the deal is. I'll let Tim. And Mike Trank is bringing the ordinance. See, I was able to convert that, or actually Dawn, or put it in our own, so that we have a total that's just ours.
On the last page where it says Manchester O&M charges,
While they're recording.
The, what, this one, the second one, Steve?
Top of the last page, second line down.
Go to the trust so we can have it there. Well, we just gotta do it right now. Just do a couple things here. Make some modifications.
It doesn't look very safe.
Oh, really?
what are we doing here?
Adam, it's you.
Selectman Adams?
Well, our lawyer told us we could have workshops when we have to televise. What's today, like the 20?
The fifth.
I'd like to call the meeting of August 25th to order. This is a workshop, starting with Carlos Adams. Introduce yourself, please.
Alice Adams, Selectman's representative.
Ellen Noyes, Administrative Assistant.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
Steve Crane, Commissioner.
Rob Trapaz, Commissioner.
Mike Urigo, DPW.
Mike Walton, DPW.
All right, let's just get going on the budget. That's the only thing we have tonight. Okay, the wages, longevity pay, FICA, Medicare, retirement, unemployment compensation, workman's compensation, benefits. Those are all covered by administration. They fill those numbers in, correct?
Right. And they haven't
Okay, so
put
we're
them
waiting
together
on
yet,
those.
so, yeah.
And the employee development, does that come out of the administration?
It's just kind of a placeholder, actually.
Okay,
It's always 100.
okay, so we'll start there. So we have $100 for that.
Right.
Auditing service, $6,000.
If finance needs to get that figure for the coming year from Melanson Heath, so I'm not sure it's going to stay at 6,000. Could, but I still have to get that from Don Borer.
So these projected actuals, these aren't the actuals as of half the year, so to speak. You
Right.
basically didn't change anything, you just took the current budget and moved the line over?
Right. Yeah, because the current adjusted, the projected actual are this year's, and the 2017 column, that last department column, is for 2017.
Okay, legal services, $5,000.
Have we used that line very often, Steve?
The legal services?
Yeah.
I don't believe we've done anything this year.
Not
No,
this
that
year, but we
didn't-
did last year.
Right.
Last year
Yeah,
did.
when we had our merchant hire. We did.
Okay. Banking services, $2,000. To be determined by the finance department?
Right. Yeah, based on the fees that we've paid in the past. I don't think we quite hit 2,000, so we just have that amount in case. Because we don't, we don't make anything on the money anymore. Used to be that,
Well, that's all subject to change depending on how some of our other agenda items work out.
yeah.
Okay, postage, $800, that's for sending out the quarterly bills.
You skipped office supplies, Steve.
Yeah, supplies.
Office supplies, $2,500. Computers and communication, that's, you got that down as $15,637. We've already overspent that by $637?
Evidently, because both Mike Yurgo and I have new PCs, and yours was a significant amount.
I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, so.
Right. Oh, you still haven't seen, I have seen mine, they just installed mine.
And I know they got it here, they're working on
It's
it.
been paid for?
Right.
I don't know, I don't get
Yes.
the bill.
Yes, it's been paid.
Yeah, Tim?
So are we looking at projected actual? Is that what has been expended in 2016?
Yes, the projected actual, because what we really want to look at is that last column under 2017.
So we spent $5,000 on a $5,000 budget for legal services last year.
No, she just, she took the
I'm just
current
keeping
adjusted
the,
budget
carried them
line and just moved it over.
Well, then,
There's nothing on here that's actual except the computers and communication, so far.
So if we overspent the line, it'll show up in this, but if we underspent it, it doesn't show up at this point.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that on the, I
Right.
believe, the last page.
Okay.
Okay, any questions on page 1?
yeah, IT always gives us the number for the computers and communication.
Okay, debt service, that's the bond, and I believe the only bond we have is the Mass Road bond.
Correct.
All the rest of the bonds are paid,
Correct.
and you're projecting $111,000 based on the schedule that you have for the bonds?
Right. For the principal, and then 11,836 for interest, yeah.
And the debt service interest, that's the same bond, $11,836 in interest, so the interest and the principal have actually dropped.
Right. There's a whole schedule that we go by. They broke it out in the 10-year schedule.
Property insurance, to be determined, that's the finance department? We have the same insurance as they do?
We do, and Property Liability Trust stopped coverage, so we've gone with Primex, and I don't have that figure from them yet. I'm not sure that the town does either.
Wages, $58,193.
By the projected change in 17 to 75.
Because we went over the 58 already
Right, 'cause
last
these are
year.
Mike Yurko's figures, those two.
They went over the 58,000 last year.
Because there was no overtime.
Well then, but we just put in for overtime below it, so why are we raising one line and then covering the overtime below it if that was needed higher because of the, I don't understand that.
Well, last year we went over the 58,000.
With a $4,000 line for overtime, right?
You bump the overtime to 15,000
Right.
for 17.
And then you bump the regular wages to 75. That's,
Need to bump both.
I don't see the need to bump them both either.
Well, if you work overtime, then the overtime will come out of the overtime. If you work regular hours, it'd be 75. There's four of us. There's guys on the back on, plus me and him. And whoever else works on, so it comes out of it too.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to see some more information on that before we discuss some more about that.
Well, I'd like to see what we've actually spent this year. And if you,
Well, you should see what you spent last year as well, too. You do that.
no, I mean on the whole thing. This whole thing.
Well, yeah.
I want to know what we spent through the end of June, that's 6 months. So it should be pretty much half of everything except
For us.
if there's a bond payment or something
Well,
like
not
that.
for us, because for us, we're not in the construction season yet for our sewer yet, basically, so.
So on the 59 and the 4, we want to see some more information on that? So we're just going to pass over that for now. Longevity pay, that's the same. I don't remember seeing that in there last year. Was that in there last year?
Governor?
Yeah, I think so. All right.
Okay, FICA,
Yeah, those are all
There's
from
comp-
finance, too.
retirement.
Yeah, they'll have to be adjusted if you're going to adjust the lines above it too.
Right.
then.
Workers' comp, can't do anything about that.
Right.
Uniforms, consulting services.
Is that where Hoyle Tanner's contracts go into this
Yeah,
consulting services line?
yeah, that was,
Assume so.
That would be where, okay.
So do we have the actual and what's been spent to date for that?
No, that number didn't go into the projected actual, or into the adjusted. I think what Don did was he moved over what he had from the sewer operating budget to get it out of the town-wide budget so that we have our own standalone, so that we end up having a total on page 3. I'll have to see what the actuals, the projected, not projected, but the actuals through the end of July.
So basically, what I'm understanding is the actuals would be a separate column that's not even being shown here.
Right.
So everything was moved over, but a few things, I mean, I'm just looking at the percent change
Right.
column, and, you know, really, it's where we have those significant percent changes. I just don't understand where, I want more information on where they're coming from. If we're just moving stuff over, I would think it would be unilateral.
The only thing that hasn't, the way I'm reading this, and I might be wrong, but I think the only numbers that change are the ones that we went over on. So anything that
Right.
stayed the same or we were under on didn't change.
Right.
And this is totally different from the way we've done it in the past.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the debt service went down, and that shows as a negative percent change.
Correct.
So
Right.
why would it work for one and not the other items if
I don't
I
know
just don't
how,
understand it.
I don't know how the formatting is done as far as when it does show the percent. See, I entered these numbers, I myself entered the numbers where you see a percent change.
You entered the percent change column?
No, I entered the department column, which created the percent
Okay.
change.
That's self-generating.
Yeah.
So, and you only entered them where you had changes, or is it,
Where I knew that I knew there were changes that would need to be made in 2017 so far.
okay, and then that's why that auto-populated?
Right.
So, under that methodology, wouldn't the 15,637, the increase in the new computers, shouldn't that be reflected in the 2017 department number then? It seemed like that was registering in the wrong column.
No, they combined a lot of stuff together.
No, but why would it be in the projected actual but not in the department then? If
Yeah.
we were just moving them over?
You know, if it's in there for 2017, it's like we're paying for the same thing twice. You're not buying any more computers next year, are you?
No, and I have to get that number from IT.
Okay.
That number,
So we went over this year, but we're not anticipating a change for next year, which is why it went back to,
right,
okay.
right.
And then to
And-
continue on with that thought process, then all the debt service, that comes off the table, so you know what that projection's gonna be.
Right, because it's just the one note now, debt service.
So you spent 15,637 on computers? How many computers did you get?
2.
Well,
Wow. what
some of
computers
it is, no, it's not all that was spent, because we pay IT a certain amount to maintain our computers in case something breaks down. The money is
not
there.
hardware,
It's
it's
sort
a-
of an in case, it's sort of an insurance
Pay
amount.
your portion of
there.
whatever that
The overhead.
web
Right.
design thing they
Right,
use and
just
all
like
that.
office supplies and other things.
We really need to see what the expenditures are so we can understand these.
Right.
Because the expenditures are what are going to make the difference here.
Okay,
Yeah, software, you pay a yearly fee for all the software.
So your software charges, there's purchase of computers, and there's
Yeah,
the
but
IT.
they just lump it into computers, because that's what it's,
I understand, Mike.
Right.
Yeah. But if you can get us a breakdown on that stuff, Ellen.
I will. And there's a note, if you'll notice at the side, that says at a minimum, 3,500 for the Munis license, the Amaze license that I'm still using, and then
Copier lease?
copier, that is a part of our portion of the copier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that last line, that's 688, that's the real number.
Where are we?
But the-
Yeah.
On second page, bottom line.
Facility repairs?
I'm not sure. What I did in this facility repairs line, I entered the number that's in CIP for 2017. But that doesn't include anything for operation and maintenance. That's the usual amount that goes in that line.
Yeah, but I'm talking 2016, I'm talking this year,
Okay.
okay? Is that, we budget, is the 300 and the 688 correct? That's where we stand right now?
That I'll have to find out. I'm not sure. I'm
Because
not
what they
sure.
did is for the earth construction for Glenridge, they took it out of the budget line. It wasn't, they showed it as an expense in the budget.
Right,
They
so
didn't show
that's,
it as encumbered money.
Yeah, but that was, what was that? That was 380, right?
yeah, 388.
So where'd the rest of it go?
Well, we have Teamy JP that we're paying, we have, you have ongoing expenses from whatever you need to purchase for,
That's a lot of ongoing expenses.
well, I'd have to see what it is. And I don't know whether somehow this number that I put in I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out.
Because the number we put in for this year, plus the money that we spent for last year, that come up to 600,000. 600, be pretty close to that 688. Because it didn't, for our, as the program is, they didn't encumber it. It didn't show us an encumbered, it shows us an expense. So maybe that's where that 688 showed up.
Do we have a different worksheet for this stuff other than this munis worksheet right here?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we should be looking at. We shouldn't be looking at this.
No, we can get one. We don't have one at the
That's
moment.
what we should be looking at, because all these questions would probably be answered if we had a more detailed worksheet to look
Have to
at,
drill down behind it.
instead of,
What goes into that?
instead of
number?
you guessing or you saying maybe an extra, that's not how we should be doing it.
Yeah, and I'd like to actually see it in some sort of packet form that we can spend some time reviewing it before we get to the meeting and can talk a little bit more intelligently about what the numbers mean and how they got here.
Okay.
Because the last page of this whole thing, it's just all carryovers, there's no changes. They're all carryovers. Well, except for the contracted services, you'd like to increase the amount for contracted services.
Yeah, if you go to the last page, the bottom line, according to that, we're over budget by $300,000. That can't be right.
Yeah,
There's
projected
no way,
actual.
there's no way that's right.
Was that encumbered money, Mike, that has,
For Parkers, for Earth, for Glen Ridge, that was encumbered. But it showed us an expense
yeah,
in the monthly report.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
bookkeeping.
Yeah, that's, like, we questioned it, and that's the way it's gotta be.
So
that's-
then, so the prior year, you were under by 300,000 because you encumbered 300,000 to carry over to this year?
Carryover was last year's money.
Right.
We didn't, and they took it as an expense.
Did they take it last year as well?
Yeah, they did, they took.
So they took it twice then, that's not,
They showed us
No,
an
that's
expense
taken twice.
last year in the monthly reports. They didn't show no encumbering or any money.
Earth was
We
three.
just had $300,000 sitting in it, it just kept showing a deficit every time you get a change, you get your pay recs.
Mhm.
Was a minus.
So
So actually,
what year did we pay for it?
2015.
We encumbered it at the end of
We
2014.
encumbered it in 2014, in the summer of 2014, we encumbered the money for the 2015 season.
Okay.
and you used it.
And it shows that expended last year, didn't show us as encumbered.
Was it paid out, Mike? Did it physically
Not
get
till-
paid to the
not till
contractor?
recently.
Yes,
The contractor's
Except for the
been getting paid,
retainers.
yes.
yes.
So there's nothing left to encumber.
Right, so that should not have been encumbered from 15 to 16 then. It should have been
No.
removed
Right,
from the
but
books at that
But
point.
the exact difference between those numbers is $389,000.
That's what
which
the
is free.
job was.
Exactly.
So that's where you get the other 300,000, it just comes to 6.
I
They're
don't-
basically double counting the money.
I don't like this sheet.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's oversimplified, Steve, and it doesn't answer anybody's questions, unfortunately.
Well, I think we need a lot more information before we move forward on anything. But just let me tell you that the two things I'm concerned about is, okay, that last line on the second page, you know, the 300 and the 688, we gotta find out for sure, you know, that what we spent this year out of that line. And the second thing is, you go to the last page, the second one down, Manchester O&M charges, $700,000. I want the number from the end of June, which would be,
You can have it from the end of July. That's what we have.
well, it's easy if you go June, because then you got, you cut it
So,
in
yeah.
half. You know what I mean? And also, from the city, you have that sheet where we make our payments on the capital projects.
Which we've had none of those this year.
So we're not expecting any payments on any capital.
We don't have any to show in actual for 2016. I don't have a projection for 2017 from them.
You need a column for actual expenditures through June 30.
Is
Yes.
there-
It might help too if you had
total expenditures for 2015, what you actually spent in
Compared
that year.
to, sure.
So you have two, you have one for the actual expenditures for 2015, then you're gonna have your expenditures to date in the 2016. So you see what happened last year is because some of the construction and some of the things we've done, we haven't done yet. So it's gonna still show money's not expended,
Yeah, the actual expenditures from 2015 are going to give you the history.
history, and that's what you want.
Look at 2016, we're halfway through at June 30. How does that stack up?
That's what I would do, that's what I base my numbers on.
Does Manchester have a consumer price index on that, or are we locked in at that same number year after year?
It goes by, well, it'll take me a couple minutes to explain it.
Well, then,
Basically, the bill's cut in two pieces. Half of it is the infrastructure of the plant, so to speak, the concrete, the pipes, the pumps, the physical plant.
Mhm.
And we own 4% of that plant we're responsible for. So if they replace a pump or, any work they do over there,
right,
we pay 4%. Londonderry pays, I think, 6%, and whatever Bedford pays.
right.
So that's half of the bill. The second half of the bill is what you discharge.
Right.
So, say you discharge 100,000 gallons one month, then the next month you discharge 200,000 gallons. If the suspended solids and the bio-oxygen demand are the same thing, it basically doubles. So you got your capital cost, which is about half of it, then you have your flow that you pay on, and then once a month for 3 days, they take samples. They have a sample that paces itself with the flow recorder. So over 3 days, 24 hours, 24 hours, 24 hours, they get 3 different samples for 3 different days, and it's paced so at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's not going to take as much of a sample as at 10 o'clock in the morning, because more people are using it at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then they analyze that for the bio-oxygen demand and the suspended solids, and then they put that into the formula, and there's nothing, it's all real money, there's nothing tied into price indexes or anything like that. It's what you say you want to buy, for future, and, what you actually used.
So does the $700,000 get fully expended, or is that an appropriate amount and we come in under that?
It should be under that, but the way it kind of gets messed up is the city of Manchester, they're on a fiscal budget. So they go from,
July 1,
from July 1
June 30.
to June 30th, right? So when Ellen calls over there and says, I want the numbers for 2017, they'll be able to give her the numbers for the first 6 months, because that budget was passed,
Right.
Whenever it was passed. The last 6 months, they're kind of guessing on, and where it makes a big difference is these projects. Sometimes they do a project and they'll take out a note and we make payments over 20 years. Sometimes we just pay cash, and it really goes up and down depending on what the projects are.
Okay.
But that's not for the O&M, that's for the other half of it.
I think she's taking everything out of the O&M. I don't think there's a line in here for the, actually, that line should be called, payments to the city of Manchester. I think the O&M and
Usage
the,
charges.
right, the O&M and the capital charges are lumped together.
And we have no way of knowing what capital charges are, because when something breaks, they fix it and we pay our percent.
No, the capital charge is,
No, that's if the state decides they want to take more mercury out or something like
Okay,
that. and
for
they
an
have
up-
to
a
do
system
upgrades.
a system upgrade, yeah.
Okay.
If a pump breaks or something like that was actually a bad example, but that's considered routine maintenance. Like right now, they're adding a new clarifier, they're replacing all the pumps. They're spending $75 million in the next 4 or 5 years. But normal routine stuff, that just goes into the O and M.
So do we have to budget for our 4% of that total expenditure?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's part of our projected in some budget sheet, which is, I don't really see right here tonight?
Well, it has been in this line. If you want another line for projects, we can,
Well, I think it would help us in the long term if we had them separated at the very least.
okay.
Well, you gotta call over there and talk to June and get her
Yeah.
best guess, you know, and she knows she knows the difference on the
She's
years.
still actually recovering from her automobile accident in May.
She was in an automobile accident?
Yeah,
Geez,
I
didn't
guess
know
a
that.
pretty serious one. Everything that's come from them is, her name's been signed by someone else. So, I think they're struggling there a little bit.
Unless somebody has something else, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Vote, Steve?